Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Max Story.
Hey guys, thanks for listening in today to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast as we continue on with Blue Collar Leadership leading from the front lines. This 30-part series where I'm actually diving into a little bit of the content on each chapter from the book. So hopefully you've been listening along with the series. If not, you may want to go back and check that out. But today we're on chapter 13, Courage is Contagious. When we're talking about courage, there's a quote that I have that opens the book that says, life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. And what that means is the amount of courage that we have is going to determine, among other things, the life that we live. And I know for me, especially in my early days in the blue-collar workforce, I was easily influenced by the older crowd. A lot of people did a lot of instigating, and they would get me all fired up and stirred up to go charge the hill and stand up for how we were being mistreated or bad decisions were being made. And I was always the one who was happy to go get reactive instead of proactive, doing the opposite of what I live and teach today. But like I always say, I'm better now. But back in those days, I was easily influenced. And for me, when I reflect back and think about courage relative to my professional career and my work in the blue-collar industry, the greatest courage that I had to muster up in my early days, in my early 20s, was the courage to stand alone. You know, we all think of the person jumping on the grenade as being courageous. And there's no doubt in the military world, someone giving their life for another's life and to defend our country is very courageous. But I'm just talking about everyday courage. And for me, again, it was just the courage to stand alone, to not go with the crowd and to do what I thought was right. And there was quite several years in there of major transition. But eventually I figured it out, but it was a huge turning point in my career and my life was when I was able to truly begin to have the courage to stand alone and not be influenced by all these other people who really didn't care about my future anyway. So courage allows average people to achieve exceptional results. But for many people, the missing piece of the puzzle is courage. The courage to do the right things at the right time for the right reasons, while those around you are constantly trying to get you to do the wrong things for the wrong reasons. That was me. People were trying to get me to do the wrong things for the wrong reasons, and I would accept their influence and go do it, and then I'd get in trouble. And basically what I was doing was derailing my own career by weakening and lessening my influence. So I want to share some thoughts with you from John Maxwell today. And John says, we often think of courage as a quality required only in times of great danger or stress. But courage is an everyday virtue needed to live a life without regrets. And then he asks the questions, why do we need courage? And here's 7 things that John lists here from this quote that I'm reading, where John says we need courage. And these are the everyday things, right? And these greatly apply to those in the blue-collar workforce, blue-collar industries, because we've got a lot of pride and ego. So to do the courageous thing, it often absolutely 100% requires a lot of courage. That's why it's called a courageous thing. But we don't necessarily see it as a courageous thing. It's just a thing. So John says, why do we need courage? One reason we need courage to seek the truth when we know it may be painful. Second reason, we need courage to change when it's easier to remain comfortable. The third reason, we need courage to express our convictions when others challenge us. Fourth thing, we need courage to overcome obstacles when progress will come no other way. The fifth thing, we need courage to learn and grow when it will display our weakness. Sixth thing he mentions, we need courage to take the high road when others treat us badly. And finally, he lists number 7. He says, we need courage to lead when being in front makes us an easy target. So those are powerful reasons we need to be courageous. They're simple things, but it's courage. And courage is a choice. Just like there are many other choices, choosing to be courageous is a choice. And I don't know you, but I can guarantee you this. There's places in your life, personally and professionally, where a lack of courage is holding you back. Doesn't mean you're a weak person. We can be strong in one area and not as strong as in another area. And we can be completely weak in another area of our life. But wherever we're weak in one specific area, generally we may be strong and courageous, but in specific areas we may be lacking courage. And it takes a lot of character development to be able to do what we need to do and to make the right choices. And the second thing John mentioned, we need courage to change when it's easier to remain comfortable. And that's what I had to go through. It was easy being part of the crowd. I fit right in. Everybody liked me. I liked them. And everybody cut up and that sort of stuff. And that was the easy thing to do. Didn't require much courage to walk in and go with the flow every day. But when I really started growing and changing and wanting to become more, that took a lot of courage because I had to become uncomfortable. And one thing about that is we always say, when it comes to growth, we must become comfortable being uncomfortable. That's where all of our growth happens, outside of our comfort zone. So I want to leave you with a quote by Henry Link today. And Henry says, while one person hesitates because he feels inferior, another person is making mistakes and becoming superior. Think about that again. While one person hesitates because he feels inferior, another person is making mistakes and becoming superior. And so you can't be afraid of making mistakes. One thing I've learned is those who are afraid to make mistakes are always working for and reporting to someone who's not afraid to make mistakes. Because to gain the experience that's going to take us to the next level is going to require making some mistakes. Nobody's going to be perfect. If somebody's telling you they don't make mistakes, they haven't done much. I promise you that. And those who have actually done the most, if you talk to them, you'll find out they made a lot of mistakes. That's where they got their superiority, if you want to call it that, referencing the quote that I just mentioned. So think about that in your everyday task at work and at home. Do some reflecting and think about it. Where is a lack of courage holding you back? What conversation do you need to have that you're afraid to have? What action do you need to take that you're afraid to take? Maybe what people in your life do you need to walk away from, but you're afraid to walk away from them? That could be personally or professionally. It could be like me when I was at work. I had to literally quit hanging around the people that I worked with because they were a bad influence. So in order to get myself squared away, I tell you what I did. I actually started working through my breaks. I started working through lunch. I took my lunchbox back. Those days I took a lunchbox and my lunch to work, and I would set it right there on my machine, and I'd run my machine through break. and I quit going to the break area, and I basically became unsociable. But that's what I had to do to get myself squared away, because I was too easily influenced. I was learning to lead myself, but I didn't understand that language back then, but that's what was happening. But it took a lot of courage to stop hanging around all these people I had been hanging around with, these people who were not going anywhere and didn't care if I went anywhere. But as I figured out I want to go somewhere, I had to figure out how to become courageous, literally to stand alone and find my own way forward and start doing only the positive things that would move me in the right direction. So I hope you guys had a great day. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.